Thank you very much, Surafi. Welcome again to all of you on behalf of his family, his brothers, and his close family members, and his very close friends, many of whom have contributed to making this wonderful event happen. We're also live streaming this program, so there are people all around the world who's watching live as we speak, people in Ethiopia, in the United States, Germany, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, all over the place. So, and welcome to all of you who are following this program virtually. And thank you all for joining us today. Of course, we all miss Tumaba, there's no doubt about it, but I personally feel that people who are in literature and art are in some ways lucky because they live through their work forever and ever, really. So Tumaba is among us through his work and through the very many connections he's forged over the years, and many people he has influenced, many of whom are here or virtually joined us. So this is really a celebration of his life. And again, thank you all for joining us. My name is Guillaume Shawangazam. I'm one of the many extended friends of Tumaba. I met him about 25 years ago, I think, here in Toronto. The same time I met his very good friend Birko. Here, I think it was at his cousin's place, Saifu's place. And ever since then, like many of you, I was taken by his personality, his humanity, and his outlook that I found to be very different than anybody else I've known in my life before then. And over the years, I have made many visits, almost yearly, to his house in Ethiopia, his enchanting house. Those of you who haven't had an opportunity to see it, it's just a sight to see, especially when he is in it, be it in his living room, chatting up with people, or in his outdoor studio where he paints in the mornings most of the time, listening to various types of jazz and really nice tunes. And then in the afternoons, he would go into his garden, his herb garden, and he would meticulously garden, almost meditate on those little plants. And I was always mesmerized. A bit of a confession, I'm not known for being a very patient man. I think one of the influences that Tumaba had on me was that I learned to be patient and to reflect on things as opposed to, kind of go, rah. So I think this is going to be a great event. Like I said, it's a celebration of life. It's not a morning event or anything like that. Of course, Tumaba was a very highly celebrated and accomplished Ethiopian artist, known for his bold visual language, his deep philosophical reflections, his lifelong commitment to artistic expressions. He was born in Harar, as I later found out, and of course later he was based in Addis Ababa. His work blends all kinds of expressions, including abstraction, symbolism, storytelling, and many others. And beyond his art, Tumaba was a thinker, almost a philosopher. Every time I spoke to him, I always felt like I'm speaking to some guru who completely twists my mind and then kind of helps me reflect in things that normally I wouldn't give any attention to very differently. So he was a people's artist, I think, who probably described him the most. And also, of course, conversations with him were multi-layered. And every time I came out of his house in the evenings, I felt like I've become a better person, and I mean it sincerely. So that's how influential he was. As you explore some of his work today in this exhibition, you will notice that many of his artwork is not titled. They don't have actual labels or names on them, with the exception of maybe one or two. And this was a deliberate choice because Tumaba believed that the meaning of a painting should be reserved to the viewer themselves. In his own words, and I'll read out what he said once, art is an expression of one's own feelings, emotions, and characteristics for both the painter and the viewer. So those were his words. He believed that every piece of art evokes a singular response from everybody, unique to each individual's experience. So that was Tumaba. So we hope you enjoy this lively tribute and we celebrate his life, his art, and his legacy. And thank you again for joining us. I will quickly introduce the program for today, and then I'll hand over the mic to others who can express Tobeba and what it meant to all of us even much better than myself. We've been, mingling here. We had a little bit of a delay in getting started, so apologies for that. And then we have an interactive canvas somewhere. There it is. There it is. So one of the things that we loved everywhere, whether it was an art residency or an exhibition, was that he loved to give people an opportunity to express themselves in whatever shape or form they want. So I think his daughters and the organizers felt it would be appropriate for all of you, as we go through the next couple of hours, to go to the canvas and reflect on Tobeba or anything that connects in with you, or anything else for that matter, and then put it in some kind of color. And then we would have some tribute speeches, if I could call it that, from a few people here who are very near and dear to Tobeba. And I'll introduce those very quickly. Then followed by not a lot of speeches, I promise you. There are 3 or 4 very short but really reflective speeches we have from family and friends. And then we have a video presentation that really, we hope, captures the essence and the life of Tobeba and his journey through it, and what it really meant, this world meant to him, and what he meant to other people. And there are a few tribute videos from his family and friends all over the place in the world, in many different countries, that Pirko spent hours and hours creating a montage. So we'll enjoy that. We'll have a gallery walk, as you see the artists all over the place here, outside as well as in here. And then finally we'll have the canvas reveal, where all the arts expressions that you guys will have added there will be revealed. And we'll close that way. So thank you again. I think let me just go to my notes here so that I don't screw up the order. Our first speaker is Louise May, a very good and very close friend of Tobeba from Winnipeg. They met, I think I was told, in 1996, and she will tell you the rest of the story. So thank you.
Hello, thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be here today to share my experience of Tobeba Turfa. I'll start with the poem. It's a puzzle. One piece floats on an unexpected breeze, scented with jasmine. One piece pierces the night sky like a shooting star, and just as suddenly leaves darkness. One piece is the friendship that loves so fully, so deeply, so sweet, and innocently, hearts bonded together forever. One piece attracts any passerby into conversations that weave together old and new, sacred and earthy, simplicity and unknowable. It's the ride, not the destination, nor the point of origin. I find it in all the stories, true stories, mythological stories, stories of anguish and forgiveness, and now it's our story together of the almost unsurmountable sadness that we all feel from the loss. I find it in all the gifts, treasures, magical and mystical. I find it in myself. Tobeba was a true romantic. Early in our friendship, he gave me these 2 small paintings made on goat's hides. The script on the second one translates roughly to a hidden love. You can harvest it like the pepper in the garden without making a sound. Tebebe told me the story of how he met Amsala, the great love of his life. It was an almost unbelievably but true story. It was bad times in Ethiopia. He was imprisoned for being an artist, thinker, teacher, tortured and not knowing if he would live another day. He and Amsala locked eyes through a small opening in the door of his cell. Later, he was thankfully released, and they met again by chance. And that beautiful love brought us the gifts of Lily and Marta. The next painting Tebebe gave me happened quite spontaneously. We often painted together, and one day I told him of the story of finding a full skeleton of a horse on the edge of a ravine in Manitoba, rural Manitoba. The horse had been shot with 2 bullet holes in between the eyes. When I showed Tebebe the skull, I could almost see him painting it in his mind, and I asked him if he wanted to paint it, and he said, "Oh, yes." Tebebe was one of the most generous artists I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. He shared his thoughts and also his process. Over the years, in various performative art events, he would invite the audience to smash clay pots on the floor, or throw pots of paints against the large canvas, or to cut up a painting and sew it back together like a quilt, transforming process into meaning. The following images take us back to the St. Norbert Arts Centre, Winnipeg, a place Tebebe called his home away from home. This was a paint night where participants drew their inspiration from Tebebe's paintings. We mixed our own egg tempera paint with natural pigments, and the result was an evening of connection as we experienced a sample of the joyousness of painting that is the hallmark of Tebebe's work. A remarkable artistic event happened, and it was a very happy day for Tebebe and I, in 2018, when Tebebe was in a highly artistically charged time of life. He and I and our dear departed artistic collaborator friend Jerry Atwell concocted a plan for him to embark on a live painting event, complete with improvised musicians as accompaniment. We discussed the event many times. Of course, it was to be held at the St. Norbert Arts Centre Women of Vision Gallery. The musician, the food, the atmosphere, all were carefully considered. That same visit, Let's go through a few here. I think there's no sound. Yeah. It sort of works in silence. This is the opening sequence. Meant to feel like a bit of a ritual. Here he started painting, and the cellist, saxophonist, pianist, a couple of percussion artists were playing in response to his movements and gestures in the paint, and he painted while the audience watched. And that was the end result. That same visit, Tebebe had set up a painting studio at his daughter and son-in-law's home where he stayed. He painted prolifically at this time. I believe he painted over 15 paintings at this level. Our last visit, that was thankfully 3 months in Winnipeg, was full of joy and surprises. As always, his visits brought me closer to the true loves of his life, Marta, Lily, Becky, Gabriel, and Adriel. For all this time, I have referred to these beautiful people as my Ethiopian family, and I love them more and more with every visit. As is our custom, within a few days, we went to his favorite art supply store to get what he needed. It was always so much fun to be with him there, looking at all the brushes, paper, canvas, paints, like a little kid in a candy shop. This visit was different. He told me many stories that I had never heard before in our almost 30-year friendship. And many of our coffee visits were spent looking at his many books, which I had never seen before. This only served to reinforce the immensity of his imagination and the breadth of his visual language. Oh, it would be nice if you had the sound for this one, but he's remarking upon each and every one of these was like a child to him, and he called them all, oh, this one, oh, this is a special one. He's showing me all of his sketchbooks, and this is a mother and a baby, which we spoke about for a bit. On the occasion of our very last coffee together, we decided to invent a new art form. It involved splattering our last drops of coffee onto the paper and then drawing whatever our intuition brought forward. This is my representation of what Tubebe meant to me, infinity. Now, Tubebe lives close to me. Lives close to me as I attempt to memorize his art like poetry. I always look at the darkness in the one side and think about that white band and the stitching that holds it together. That's where my eyes go first, and then I think about the three little faces that in teal and black that sort of seem to be on their own but communicating, and that leads me to the little cross, which is always a bit of a startling image for me, and then back around to the various different little splotches, and inside, back and forth, the soft edges and the hard edges, and then finally I always end up back in that little slit in the middle, that dark slit with the yellow around it, where I just feel like I want to dive in and feel that whole infinity of everything. And that is how I am now living with Tubebe in my heart, by memorizing his paintings. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Louise. You did not live anything for our imagination, it was deep from your heart. Thank you for taking us through that whole journey of how you experienced Tubebe and what a special man he was. I mentioned earlier that I'm not an artist, by the way, full disclosure. I'm not an artist, far from it. But I did mention earlier that Tubebe touched me in a very different way than anybody else in my life. And I'm one of those people who's surrounded by all kinds of people in my life, but he was a singular kind of guy. I remember one time, maybe 7, 8 years ago, I was at his house again, visiting him in Addis. He was not there actually, and the caretaker told me, hey, you should arrive shortly, and then he called me on the cell phone and he said, hey, I'm on my way, I had a hospital appointment and I'm rushing back. So when he got back, he told me how long it took, and things don't work in the way that you might think in some of those places. But he didn't complain, and he taught me a life lesson just in that conversation. He said to me, what struck me was not that it took so long and things were not efficient, but I was very sad by the state of the reception room, where all those people who come here looking for some type of health care, some type of support, are waiting to be taken in. And it was so bland, there was nothing there that was calming, that would get them to settle down. So he went on to describe to me how some of his art actually is displayed in hospital receiving rooms and hallways. I think he gave me the example of Munich, and he showed me some pictures, and he kind of taught me how, when people come to hospitals or any other place where they require services, in this case desperately, how that reception room and how the ambiance and the colors and the combination of that environment is 50% of their healing. By the time they see the doctor, they're feeling better, they're feeling taken care of, they're feeling very positive. So that was a huge lesson for me. Enough of my experience. Our next speaker who will share his experience with us is this gentleman here, John Lawson. John met Leva all the way back in 1972. He was a young man, 73, 72?
73, 72, whatever.
Yeah. In Harar, where John was amongst the Peace Corps volunteers who came to Ethiopia to teach in high schools across the country, and a lot of them from all over the United States. And he ended up meeting Leva there, and I'll let him describe the rest of his how he experienced Leva. Thank you.
Talis. You never want to you. So this is a little gem of a painting that I have in my house. I have several of these, and we purchased many of them. And then this is a little horror basket. They have bigger ones than horror. And this was given to me by Yusuf Malay over here, a good Adelaide fellow. And this is when I was leaving, so I still have it. So here I am. So as he says, I met him in 1973. So here we go. So Tadeva painted on small boards when he was a young man. When he went to art school in Addis Ababa, he was already a painter, philosopher, artist. One of his teachers was Deborah Christos Desta, who brought abstract painting to Ethiopia. Tadeva grew up in Howard. When I was there, I lived in the walled city called Jogo. Through the Haile Selassie Arch, at the top of Andinyamangu, First Street, one walked quite a distance, passing gold shops, tea and coffee houses, businesses, to the Ferris Magala, the horse market, but it was of course not a horse market, it was a roundabout for the buses. The Jogo was a vibrant and very busy place. A roam of people came into Har to go to the market called the Magala Budol to sell and buy near my rented Adere house. The colorful dressed Adere women, the Muslim butchers who used to also butcher camels, Somali nomads at Arat Bir, one of the gates of Har, their camels laden with contraband, cigarettes, and pans, the cloth merchants on the Makina Bir, which was a wide rocky walkway that came from the Ferris Magala down to the Magala Budol. So colorful and unusual sights, and certainly not downtown Chicago, where I worked in an upscale bookstore. People just by living created their own unusual place, which was not unusual to them, and they lived here very well. This is some of the horror that Tadeva knew so well in painting. So Abdi Muhaymin and Tadeva came to the Adere house I rented. We had a great time together. Tadeva made a drawing of the very large church-like double door of the entryway. So Safia had a classic Adere house filled with colorful pans and weavings displayed on the walls and built-in carpeted platforms to lie on or sit on. She was an exceptionally amiable person. On the other side of this compound was the Adere house that Tadeva rented. It had a traditional large door opening on a main room, a room to the side that Tadeva made into a kitchen. Upstairs was Tadeva's studio and a room off in the studio. Once we met Adere girls, and they were distressed that Tadeva did his own cooking, presumably because men might decide never to marry, and what would happen to them. His house was small except for the main room. Entering from the compound, abstract paintings hung on the walls. It was a wonderful sight to behold, and an extraordinary contrast. Traditional Harari culture and abstract expressionism on opposite sides of Hagia Sophia's steeped in admirable cultures, unique by way of the place. Admirable cultures, unique by way of the place. Admirable cultures, unique by way of the place. I called, and Tavella answered and said, Monroe. I called, and Tavella answered and said, Monroe. And I said, this is John. And I said, this is John. And he said, oh. And he said, oh, John. John. How are you? Are you painting? How are you? Are you painting? So it was as if we never parted. So we had a reunion here in Toronto, and Druco was there. Over the years, I visited Tavella and the family one time when he was in Winnipeg. Then he came to our house in Bowie, Maryland. At least 3 times, I recall, staying a month at a time. We went up. We set up a studio in the garage where he painted, and I called it Potter West. On one visit, he had an exhibition in Washington, D.C. At another time, we held an open studio exhibition in our house. From the very beginning, we always talked, and it was a type of talk that one could call the philosophy of art, which encompassed so much. And of course, we laughed a lot. So I remember vividly all the great times Tavella and I had in Otter, Addis Ababa, Winnipeg, Toronto, and in Bowie. We had the finest conversations over the phone and on Microsoft Messenger. For me, he was the most unique and excellent friend and artistic compatriot. We would talk so much about art, it was wonderful, and I learned so much from him. It was a grand and marvelous journey. When he attended our wedding in Altoona, Pennsylvania, a lady of the kitchen staff thought Tavella was an African prince. And of course he was, and so many other identities too. The paintings show that legacy, those Howard paintings, and those marvelous abstractions searching the life here and the mysteries of the universe. He was quite the guy, the very best. Tavella came and made his wonderful contributions to us all. It was the greatest honor for me to have been his good friend and compatriot. What a great history, and what a great life, and I love him so much. So I have just one other little small thing from my wife Annie. She was going to come here, but her sister, my sister-in-law, broke her shoulder, and so she's taking care of her. Anyway, she loves Tebeba very, very much. So she has this little piece here, and I'd like to express it. Where does one begin to explain a deep love for Tebeba? We all have felt the pull towards him. He was and always will be a light in this world that touches all who have had the good fortune to meet him and most especially become his friend. Tebeba was a kind, caring, compassionate soul. When spending time with Tebeba, one felt his energy, his excitement for painting, all forms of art, his love of gardening, the soil, the earth, sharing stories, his thoughts on life, friendships. Tebeba created a little heaven. Here on earth was his beautiful magical garden full of greenery and flowers that he so loved, colorful pots, and art in abundance, a quiet place to contemplate, to enjoy a simple cup of coffee, just to be. Over the years, John and I have shared many wonderful moments and adventures with Tebeba. Every day with him was a gift. He could be serious and playful. On the playful side, one evening, Tebeba and I laughed ourselves to tears as he modeled some crazy-looking wigs that I got him to use in his street performances in Addis. A fond memory indeed. There is so much I could say about Tebeba, as many of you have so eloquently expressed. He touched my heart with his kind, thoughtful ways, his laughter, his love of family, friends, life, people, his caring spirit. There is something extraordinarily special about Tebeba. I feel it in my heart. It's a feeling that is difficult to put into words. It is my great honor to have had Tebeba love me and call me friend. I will forever treasure our time together, cherish him always, love him always, and remember him as one of the finest human beings on this earth.
Thank you very much, John. It can't get any better than 53, I think, if I do the math right. 53 years of continuous friendship. And I think to describe his essence, caring, compassionate, a gift to this world, which I think is the way that many, many of us see him. So thank you, John. Thank you to your wife, Anita, too. Our next speaker is Kenan. Kenan, I'm sorry, Kenan. My apologies. I'm known to never to mispronounce Amharic names. You know why? Because you can't make a spelling mistake in Amharic. Anyway, without further ado, Kenan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm going to read from my script here as well. Thanks for your patience. Hello and thank you, everyone. It's going to be a hard one. I'd like to start by saying thank you to Lily and Marta for making this entire event happen. Thank you so much for honoring our friend and your father, Ato Tebeba Turfa. And yes, I am also honored to be considered one of his friends. But that was Tebeba, wasn't it? I'm certain everyone in this room believed that Tebeba was their best friend. Was that not truly the magic of this man? How he made everyone around him feel special. But allow me to back up for a second. My name is Kenan Vaughn. I met Tebeba in Addis Ababa in 1994. I was much younger and thinner then, full of fantastic ideals about Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, and the entire Solomonic dynasty. So I went to Ethiopia to explore its wonderful history, culture, and people. I knew no one, But thanks to family friends, Jason and Cassandra Price, Sandy's here with us today. I was given a couple of names and phone numbers of people I could reach out to when I arrived. Tebeba was one of those people. All I can say about our meeting was that the connection was instant and enduring, as I'm sure you all have experienced as well. In all, I went to Ethiopia 3 times between 1994 and 2000, and a lot of that time was spent at Tebeba's studio, drinking coffee, talking, chewing chat, painting, among other things. The people I met in that studio, oh my God. The conversations we had, man, we solved the world's problems many times over in that studio. In truth, I went into Tebeba's studio a boy, but I emerged a man. It's not because I lost faith in the old gods or the new, but because of the things I heard in that room, spoken by the most artistic, articulate, intelligent, progressive, and well-known of Ethiopia's modern-day artists, writers, and politicians, was that men are not made great by adhering to ideals, but by challenging their imaginations to look beyond the surface. Boy, oh boy, did Tebeba look beyond the surface. As much of his heart was about color and form, his life was about imagination and seeing beyond the mundane. Drinking coffee was not just drinking coffee. Much like chewing chat or anything else he did, there was always a ritual, always a celebration. Tebeba was true to his vision. On canvas or off, his art was his life. Didn't we all feel that around Tebeba? That radiant energy of possibility. This was the magic. This was the glue. He never gave up on his imagination no matter what. There was always something awe-inspiring to witness, to examine, to experience. From flowers and birds in his garden to the clouds in the sky, Tebeba taught us that there is beauty everywhere, in everything. Excuse me. I could literally go on for hours, as I have an unlimited reservoir of Tebeba-related experiences, stories, and good times I could recall. But to keep things short, I'll close this way. I can say with absolute certainty that everyone in this room has mourned the loss of Tebeba Turfa deeply. And while today may not be the easiest of those days, I promise you this. Brighter days lie ahead if you do what Tebeba would do. Find the beauty in all things. When you do, you will be as close to him as you ever were. Though his physical presence may be lost to us, his spiritual presence is as abundant as ever. For teaching us to see the beauty in life. Until we meet again, my friend. I wish everybody well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. That was deeply felt, and thank you for being bold to share it with us, challenging us to look beyond the surface, finding beauty and meaning in everything all around us. Those sound like big words, but I think Brother Trudy's really exemplified that in Ken. I think many people in this room share your sentiments around that, so thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of, again, the family here. Our next speaker is one of the closest friends and family, really, of Tababa Pirkosari. I'll never express our thoughts through here.
I was feeling okay till my brother just made that beautiful speech.
Louder, please.
It was beautiful. My brother just spoke the most beautiful words, and I'm feeling a little emotional now. So my name is Pirko, and I've known Tababa since his first trip to Canada in 1995. The first day I met Tababa, he gave me this, and I just kept it forever, you know, because I keep Tababa forever, and that's just a good symbol of who he and I are. I have so many stories, like my brother said, there's so many stories, there's so many things. But, you know, like we shared so many paintings, we shared many glasses of wine, conversations, travel, and so many experiences, both big and small. What I find very amusing is, I have a very short speech, and my brother and I did not compare notes, and we have such similar reflections of our love for him. If you knew Tababa, if you knew him a little bit or a lot, it didn't matter. However you knew him, you just loved him. We loved him. It was just so easy to love him. And he was a magical combination. There were so many magical things that happened. He was a magical combination of talent, as we know, and kindness, and intelligence, and let's not forget, fun. Tababa was fun. He was so many things, and I will miss him deeply. He shone a lot of positive light and beauty into this world. We all understand that. And what I ask you, when you leave here today, is to consider shining your own light and your positive love into your world. Because you know Tababa would love that.
Thank you very much, Rico. Thank you. Next and last speakers would be Tababa's own children, whom he raised with meticulous care, brought here to Canada a long time ago, and Luis and others started taking care of them, went to school, and now they lead their own lives as adults, and of course they're giving grandchildren, beautiful grandchildren. So can I ask Lily to come forward and share her thoughts about her dad today in a celebratory way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Lily.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Maybe a little emotional. So before I begin, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here and celebrating our dad. Thank you for taking the time from your Saturdays, summer days to be here with us in the hot day today. We really do appreciate you. And for everyone who's joining us virtually as well as have flown here from different places, thank you very much. This means a lot to us. Hearing everyone's speeches today as well as watching the different videos that his friends and family have shared, it's so special to hear that what everyone thinks from their perspective. And for us, that is our dad, so we have a different perspective, but it's very special to hear what people have been impacted by him. Hearing everyone's speeches and watching the videos, it's beautiful to see how much people like have been impacted by him. Sorry, I'm repeating things. Growing up, I always saw him as a kind of superhero, someone incredibly unique. And hearing all of you today confirms that it wasn't just us or me, it's how everyone felt about him. He was a special man. To us, our dad was everything. He was an artist, a philosopher, a thinker, and someone deeply curious about the world. But above all, he was our dad, our abaye, our buka. The one who taught us how to cook, especially for me. He's the one who taught me how to cook, how to take care of the plants. He loves plants. So I spent a lot of times with him learning how to take care of it. Even though when I was younger, I hated it, but now I actually enjoy it. How to make a delicious, strong cup of coffee.
Yes.
And the love for the little things, and also to appreciate music. Today we're listening to most of his music. We made a playlist. These are the music that we grew up hearing, and it just makes it special, kind of tells a story. He also helped us understand the sense of style. He always has a sense of style. And just to be ourselves, an individual self. He made me believe that I can do anything and be anything I wanted. He was not a traditional dad. He was an open, liberal, and always treated us like his friends. The three of us were always together, and that never changed even when we grew older. When we moved to Canada, he used to visit us every summer, and those were the best times. One memory I have is when Lily and I used to work at the university, he used to come and visit us. But even there, he made lots of friends. Some of them came here to visit as well. That was just who he was. Our dad was able to connect with anyone, people of all age, all walks of life. He has this rare ability to meet people where they were and make them feel seen and special. He was a special man. Positive force in my life, a constant supporter in everything I do and everything that I wanted or had thought about. He believed in us so deeply and wanted the best for us. And somehow he gave us a life full of love, creativity, curiosity, and a very warm life. Although he's not here with us physically, I do want to believe that somehow he can feel the love we have for him here and how much he's loved. I was so fortunate to have a dad like him, and I will forever be grateful. I love you, Abokaye.
Okay. Thank you so much. We are truly grateful and deeply touched that you all are here with us. Your presence means so much to our family, to bring us comfort, strength, as we gather together today to celebrate and remember the love, the life of our beloved Father. Our Father is more than one of the famous, most prominent and celebrated artists. He is the soul of our family, one of the kindest, most genuine human beings I have ever known. Growing up in Addis, Our home was filled with love, music, creativity, and laughter. My sister and I had the happiest childhood. With our father together, he is the heart of everything in our home. He was a loving, very present father who nurtured our joy and curiosity, was calm and genuine spirit. He loved his studio. He used to spend hours creating, immersed in colors, canvas, imagination. We'd spend hours and hours there. We would pick by the window, we'd walk into his studio. He just doesn't mind. He used to tell me when I was little, he used to work really late. I wake up and I don't find him beside me. I wake up and I go to his studio, and then in the middle of the night, and then he'll give me some colors and paper to draw in the middle of the night, and I will, and then he told me I will sleep on his lap. It was just so beautiful. His studio wasn't off limit to us. It was a place of wonder. Watching him paint taught me more than just art. Taught me about patience, dedication, and what it means to live with passion. Outside of the studio, we found joy in gardening. Our home in Addis was surrounded by beautiful flowers, plants, herbs, trees, all created by his hands. He taught us how to care, how to nurture, how to find joy in the process of growth. What truly set our father apart is his spirit. He had a light within him, and I heard it from everybody today on the speech. And he draws people to him. He made friends effortlessly, young or old, neighbor or stranger. He was a magnet for connection, effortlessly bringing people together from all walks of life. Today, he continued to inspire all of us. He was a caring grandfather to my boys, Gabriel and Adriel. They adore him so much. He comes to visit every summer. He plays with them. He makes an effort to understand what kind of game they play, what kind of movie shows they watch. He tries to remember all of that so that he can have conversation with them too. Today I also, and Marty and I also want to express our deepest gratitude. More than 25 years ago, when our father was in Canada, he was seriously ill. It was the kindness and compassion of friends and that helped him save his life. My sister and I were young at that time. We have heard the stories many times. We'll never forget that. We'd like to sincerely thank our families in the US, Canada, Addis Ababa, and very close to us, who were taking care of us while he was taking care of his health in the US and in Canada here. We want to thank a few people. We want to thank Dr. Aselfo, Dr. Aragua, Anato Walula for stepping in and helping our father receive critical help in the US, and we will never forget that kindness. We also want to thank the doctors in South Africa, because he did have a second heart surgery in South Africa. And we want to thank Sarah and Rosemary for arranging the surgery there, and it was successful, and he recovered right away. He made friends in the hospital. He showed them pictures. It was beautiful hearing that. Our father never took his health for granted. He remained disciplined, committed to staying healthy, so he continued to work, create the amazing works he does, and share his art with the world. One of the things that stayed with me most is something that he always used to say to us: always have passion for art and for life. That's who he was, someone who lived with purpose, with heart, and with authenticity. Today we are here celebrating his life. We carry forward his legacy, a legacy of love, creativity, kindness, and action. We miss him deeply. We are so proud of the life he lived and the example he set for all of us. Thank you so much, and I wanted to say thank you to individuals and volunteers who brought this event to life, to Girma, Gion, Pirko, Bahailu, Atacho, Geta, and all our volunteers who came from the US, Kazahin, and our volunteers who came from Winnipeg all the way from the US and from here in Toronto. Thank you so much. This wouldn't happen without you setting everything. When we came here at 1 o'clock, we all were hands-on, setting everything on time. Without you, this wouldn't be true. Your contribution to this event is deeply appreciated, and we are very grateful for your kindness. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Lily and Martha. I heard an expression not too long ago, and it goes very short one. It's not about the years of your life, it's about the life in your years. And that really struck me and stayed with me, and I had to reflect a little bit about that for a while. And I think that's one way to look at Tobaba's life. It was really the life in his years. And of course, amongst that life in his years, paramount responsibility he had was looking after his daughters. And today, we saw that the result of that, and the love and the nurturing, and ultimately he left these two beautiful women and the grandchildren for all of us. So thank you again. This is it for the live speeches. We now have a video tribute. When this tribute was being organized, there were just so many people, you wouldn't believe, who wanted to say something, to leave something on the record about how Tobaba influenced their lives and what he meant to them. And it was a lot. If we were to show you all the self-recordings people sent to us from all around the world, we would be here for 2 nights. But Pirko, the tireless Pirko, worked very, very hard to condense that into a much shorter version, but also captured the essence and not leave out. So to everybody who have sent us videos, recordings, and writings, apologies, we're not going to show all of it. It had to really be condensed so that we're not going to be here all night. So who's going to run the video for us? And then we'll let you guys, I know you've been sitting for a while, we'll let you guys move around and use the cameras, see the exhibition and everything. So here we go with the video.
In 1991, I met her for the first time in Glasgow, and I decided to meet artists
هي امازون بنت زوقي هي فاسك مول هي تماجخات هي كاميرا مزخش كاكو تاع شويه سباري فيديو هي زخش كاكو مولي زخش كاكو تفكر فيها بس يقول لي ايه زخش كاكو تفكر فيها كل هذا شاخ زخش كاكو بس هي البناء وكشف بس بيك هي هي يوم هذا بلوتوث ما له يعني هي ما له بلوتوث هي سكالتي ما شاء الله شكرا أبا
And at that moment, we didn't go anywhere. We went there, coffee, and we sat down. Also, he just opened up the key and started talking about it.
هاي صورة تلسجين على ذاك بعد سنة.
Near the